Hi there, it's Mr. Clark. Welcome to lesson JAZ.3.2 on tritone substitution. So, at the end of the last lesson, we were looking at just throwing some 5 chords, some dominant 7th chords in, just freely replacing, and substituting chords into standard forms is a very common thing that we see in jazz. And a common substitution that we make is known as a tritone substitution. So we have our normal 2-5-1 progression here. C major, bam. Easy. But we've talked about how thirds and sevenths are interchangeable. We even did the double flip. Boop, 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 boop. Thirds and sevenths. So here it's a seventh, here it's a third, here it's a seventh, third, seventh, third. What if we kept these two notes but reinterpreted what they are? Because in a dominant seventh chord, your third and your seventh are a tritone apart. So right now, that's the third, that's the seventh. What if we swapped that? What if we said this bottom note, your F, is the third of your chord, and the B natural is the seventh of your chord? Well, that's not going to quite work because G is 4, A is 5, B is 6, 6. So that's not a seventh, but you could call it C flat. We can reinterpret it, and then it's a seventh. So what chord has F as a third and C flat as your flat 7? Well, if F is 3, and we're assuming it's going to be a major third, so E flat, D flat is going to be your root. So D flat 7, F is the third, C flat is the seventh. So we've kept the most important notes of the chord, the guide tones. Third and seventh, they're the same. We've just flipped our interpretation of them. There are your third and seventh. We expect a G to be at the bass, but what if we put a D flat there instead? And that's what we do here. Ooh. So now the bass line is also very smooth, which, that's nice. And that's one of the reasons that we like this tritone substitution. It still acts as a dominant chord. Our third and seventh still resolve how we expect them to, because in jazz we don't always have this expectation of quite as specific part writing as we do in classical. So this is totally fine. So if you want to put a tritone substitution in your own music, you're going to want to identify your guide tones, like we did, flip their roles, like we did, figure out what the new root is, like we did, and then replace any other chord tones as needed. If we had the fifth in here, it would have been an A, would have gone down to a G for our G7, and then would have stayed on a G. Here, if we have an A here, we're going to want to move it to an A flat, because that's what fits in D flat 7, and then it will go down to a G. So if you have any other inner voices besides the third and seventh, you might need to look at them as well, make sure that we adjust them appropriately. But that's how you get a tritone sub. And if you're looking for a tritone sub in a piece of music, looking for this descending chromatic root motion is definitely something to check for. And that would be a big clue that, maybe there's a substitution going on here. So that's what we got going on, and I'll see you next time.